Good evening to all of you, and I'm really sorry that I got a bit late to join today. There was a small issue in my connection and my laptop. Okay, so I think all of you are here, so we can start today's lesson directly. So I think during the last lesson or the lesson before, I explained this activity, the activity 4, where we are asked to write some steps on making any of this given, any one of this given list, right? So we did not get time, I think, during the last lesson to see whether you have written anything. I think there were few students because there were some students who were not able to join during last week. So can I know whether any one of you were able to do this activity? This activity for how to make it can be a Vesak lantern, it can be a kite, doll, any origami object or any other things. So any student who were there during the last week, would you like to let me know whether you were able to write how to make any one of these? I think we had Bashita last week. So, Bashita, did you have any time to do this homework?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Okay. So, did you complete it?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Okay. So, would you like to read what you have written? Maybe all the other friends would like to hear what you have written. So, if you would like to read, you can take few minutes and read what you have written.
A little motor fan. First take a ice cream stick. Make little hill of stick middle. Take a motor. The stick fit to the motor. The motor fit to the battery supply. Turn on the switch and enjoy.
Right. Okay. Very good. So I think Bashita has come up with his own topic. So he has come up with how to make a fan. Right. So he has correctly written what are the things you need. Right. So when we are writing this kind of I could say a paragraph, how we when we are giving some instructions to others, we always need to make sure that we tell them what are the things they need to take, right? So we need to mention them what are the things they need to take, and then we will have to give the instructions on how to assemble them together to come up with the final outcome, right? So very good, Bashita. It's a very nice writing you have come up with. So do we have anyone else also? If you have completed anyone of you, you can raise your hand. Right. It's okay. I think there were few absentees. So because of that, you may have not done it. So in that case, it's okay. So if you have time, so just try to do this at home. And once you are done, you can WhatsApp me so that I can go through what you have written and I can give you my feedback. Right? So this was the,
Teacher,
yes.
absent. Teacher, I was absent last week because I had term test.
Yes, Vitul, I can remember you messaged me as well. So it is okay. I think now you know what you have to do as the homework. So this activity you can try at home this week, and once you have done, you can send it to me, right?
Okay, teacher.
Right, okay. Right, and then actually during the last week, we did the next two activities. First one is matching the pictures with the given phrases. And then there was this activity to draw. So I just showed what are the things we are going to draw and how we are going to express, right? So as I said, when we are using these some words, right? I will be reiterating what I mentioned in this activity because few of you were absent. So we can see what we call here is as a jar of honey, right? We never say it as a honey jar, right? So that is something which you need to know, because in Sinhala, when we use this kind of uh, uh, words, right, as an example, පැණි බෝතලේ අපි කියන්නේ පැණි බෝතලේ කියලා, right? But in English we never say it as honey jar, but it should be a jar of honey, right? සිංහලෙන් අපි ගත්තොත් කේක් වලට අපි කියනවා කේක් කෑල්ල, but in English we never say cake piece. It should be a piece of cake, right? So that is what you need to note here in this particular activity. Rather than to draw it, you need to see how we are going to express this kind of things, right? Because if we take, we can see that this is a jar which is filled with honey, right? So that is why we say a jar of honey, but we do not say a honey jar, right? If we take only the jar, it is going to be only jar. This is a jar. If we had this jar without honey, we are going to call it as simply a jar. But when we fill it with honey, we call it as a jar of honey, right? A piece of cake, a sheet of paper, everything is something like this, right? So in Sinhala, we know we say ready vala, right? So ready vala, but in English, we never say clothes line, but it should be a line of clothes, right? A bunch of bananas, right? So you need to remember this when you are writing, right? And then we actually did the next activity as well, right? So here what we have to do is we read this particular paragraph regarding Ananda Kumara Swami, and from the information which were given, we completed the details, right? So in this activity, what we tried was to first to read something properly, clearly, meaningfully, and then we need to extract specific information from the paragraph given, right? So that is also which we completed last time, right? And then we have this activity, right? So if we read what we are supposed to do here, read the following data sheet and write a similar description about Ananda Samarakon. Right, so earlier we talked about Ananda Kumara Swami. So there actually we were given the paragraph and we were supposed to find the information which were given in this list. But now we have been given this information and we need to write similar description about Ananda Samarakon, right? So we are given this information, his name Ananda Samarakon, birth January 13th, 1911, village Lianwela, father Samuel Samarakon, mother Dominga Piris, schools Vavala Government Sinhala School and Christian College, Kotte, profession, a teacher of art and music, works, composed the national anthem, many other songs like Sirisaru Sarakete Ennada Maniki. Right? Death April 5th, 1962. So this is the information which have been given to us. So we need to develop a paragraph including all this information, right? So we will not be doing this activity here because it will take some time. So this activity also I would like to give it as a homework for Wednesday. So once you are here Wednesday, we will discuss how we are going to write it, right? So take like 10 to 15 minutes at home and try to write this. And if it is possible, WhatsApp me, because why I ask you to send it to me so that I can see whether you are writing in a proper way, whether your spellings are correct, and whether your punctuation marks, the full stops, commas, whether you use them properly, right? So if you send it to me, I can personally check them and give you the feedback, right? So take this, note this down, note this activity 8 in your workbook to be done as a homework, right? And then I will explain this. I will read out loud, which I will be writing if I am the person who is writing. And maybe just like Bashita told what he wrote today, we will get a few readings from you as well, right? So those you have missed, I think you can go through this particular paragraph where you can see how we need to write, right? So we need to start with a person's name and where he was born and what is his education and what sort of work he has done, and then finally end uh, when did he die, right? So these are the general things we need to include when we are writing small paragraphs related to, I could say, famous people, right? So we need to give an introduction like when they were born and what is their school, and then why they are famous, right? So that is really important. When we were talking about Ananda Kumaraswamy, we saw that he learned about geology and botany, and then he wrote some books which are really important for the society, right? So likewise, you can see here, even Ananda Samarakoon, I think you might know that he is the person who composed the Sri Lankan national anthem, right? And also many other songs. So that is why he is really important for us. And then we need to end up by maybe mentioning when he was died, right? So keep this part as your homework, and we will move on to activity 9 now, right? Because I think today, since I got a little bit late, we have a little bit less time, but I think the time we have would be enough for this activity, right? Okay, so activity 9. So what do we need to do here? Read the table given below. Write sentences to describe each using has, have, had, right? So can anyone let me know, where do we use has, where do we use have, where do we use had? Do you know? Do you know whether these three words, whether they are present tense or past tense or future tense? Can somebody tell me whether has?
Has,
Yes,
has and have is present tense, but had is past tense.
yes, very good. So has and have are present tense, right? And had means it is past tense. So when we consider for past tense, we have only had, right? Only one word. But when we consider present tense, we have two words, has and have. So do you know why do we have these two, has and have? What is the difference?
We use has
for singular and have for plural.
Yes, very good, Vitulya. So I think others also might know this. So when we are writing sentences, we need to consider whether we are writing about a single person or it can be a single thing, right? So whether it is a singular noun or whether it is a plural noun, right? So based on whether it is a singular or whether it is a plural word, in the present tense, we will have to use has or have, right? So there will be more words like this, but in this activity, what we will be covering is has and have, right? So always remember, if we are talking about the present tense, that means if we are talking about something which is happening now, we can say has for a singular noun, right? So I can say uh, what? My mother, right? So my mother is a singular noun, right? So my mother has what? My mother has a nice frock, right? So that is something my mother currently has, right? But let's say we are talking about me and my sister, right? So I could say we, right? So if I say we, it will be plural. So if my sister and myself, we have some frocks, I can say we have beautiful frocks, right? My mother has a beautiful frock, but we have beautiful frocks. So what we are talking about is when we use have is plural and has is singular, but both of them are present tense, right? And let's say the beautiful frock which I described is something which my mother had maybe few years ago. So if my mother had a beautiful frock, how I'm going to say is my mother had a beautiful frock, right? In the same way, let's say my sister and myself, if both of us had two frocks, beautiful frocks few years back, I can say we had beautiful frocks some years back, or else I can say we had beautiful frocks, right? So that is the way we are using has, have, had. So that means by using has, have, had, what we try to say is belonging of something. That means I have something, right? I means it is a singular noun, right? I have a frock. We have frocks. You have a frock, right? So whether it is singular or plural, you will be you, right? So you have frocks, right? And then if we talk about, we cannot say he, we cannot say he has a frock because if it is he, it should be a trouser or a shirt. So we can say he has a trouser, right? And she has a frock. They have frocks, right? So likewise, we will have to change when we are telling someone else about something which belongs to me. We can use the word has or have in the present tense. And if it is something which was there in the past, we can use had, right? So I hope it is clear to you, right? So in this activity, what you are supposed to do is you are given few names, and let's say Madhavi, the first one, the person is Madhavi. So this year or now, right? So we are talking about something now. So Madhavi, a blue bag, right? So we want to say that Madhavi uh, has, or I could say, a bag is belonged to Madhavi, right? So it is something which is there with Madhavi now. So what is the word we need to use in order to prepare the sentence, right? So Madhavi and a blue bag. This is in the current or the present tense, right? And the next one, last year or earlier. So that means we are talking about the past, right? So last year it was a green bag, right? So we are talking about what Madhavi had or has some time back and now, right? So you need to come up with the sentence, or you need to build the sentence for the present tense and the past tense using the proper word from these three, right? So I think we have 5 here, and 5 of you are also there, so that is good. So we have 5: Madhavi, Rukshan, my friends, my aunt, shops, right? So I would like to give chance to anyone who would like to start with the first one, to let me know how we can have this sentence built up for Madhavi, a blue bag, which is in the present tense, and a green bag, which is in the past tense. So you need to come up with 2, right? So there will be 2 sentences, one for the present and one for the past tense. Okay, so who would like to do it?
Teacher, can we combine the two sentences together with but?
Yes, that also can be done, because if we are in this case, actually, yes, because you have been given the 2 which are given is not quite similar. It is different. So if it is different, yes, we can write it, or we can combine the 2 sentences using but, right? So if we consider combining sentences using but, so where do we use this word but? When we want to express things which are different to each other, right? So as an example, let's say I have a frock now, but I had a trouser earlier, right? So girls also have trousers. So in that case, I can say I have a frock now, but I had a trouser earlier, right? So in that case, yes, we can build this as 2 separate sentences, as well as, if you like, you can come up with 1 sentence, but combining both of these 2 with but, right? So that is also possible. Right. Okay. So who would like to take the first? Yes, Ishini.
Madhavi has a blue bag now, but she had a green bag earlier.
Yes, very good. Madhavi has a blue bag now, but she had a green bag earlier, right? Okay, good. So who is going to go with the next one? Bashita? Bashita, would you like to try the second one?
Rukshan had a small bottle of water, but he had a big bottle of water earlier.
Can you repeat it, Bashita? I didn't hear you properly.
Rukshan has a small bottle of water now. He had a big bottle of bought water earlier.
Yes, very good. Correct. Rukshan has, because it is again, sorry, it is again a singular noun, right? So Madhavi, singular noun, likewise Rukshan, right? So this only differs from he or she, right? So it is only the gender difference we have here. But since we are using the name of the person, Rukshan had, sorry, Rukshan has a small bottle of water this year, but he had a big bottle of water last year. Or else we can say Rukshan has a small bottle of water now, but a big bottle of water earlier, right? Okay, so the third one. Who would like to try? Sorry. Maybe Hansika.
My friends has big notebooks now, but last year they had small notebooks.
Okay, so just one thing, right? So here, my friends. So, Hansika, can you let me know whether my friends, the word my friends, is it singular or is it plural?
Plural.
Right. So, if we have plural word in the present tense, are we using has or have?
Have.
Yes, very good. So it should be have in the present tense, right? So we can read it as my friends have big notebooks. Sorry, my friends have big notebooks now, but they had small notebooks earlier, right? My friends have, right? It is a plural word. So my friends have big notebooks now, but they had small notebooks earlier. Right. Okay. So the the fourth one. Sulaksha. Sulaksha, would you like to try the fourth one? Sulaksha. I think maybe Sulaksha had few issues earlier also in her mic, so maybe she is not able to answer. So anyone else who would like to answer? Okay, Ishini, would you like to try it? Fourth one.
My aunt has a pet dog this year, but she had a pet cat last year.
Yes, very good. So my aunt has a pet dog this year, but she had a pet cat last year. Or else we can say my aunt has a pet dog now, but she had a pet cat earlier, right? Okay, the last one. Vitulya.
This year shops have this year shops have many things to sell, but last year they had only certain amount.
Yes, okay. So shops, so it is plural, right? So it is plural. So shops have many things to sell this year, but they had certain amount of things to sell last year, right? Or else, as Vitulia correctly said, this year shops have many things to sell, but last year they had certain amount of things to sell, right? So with this, I hope you are clear how we need to use has, have, or had, right? So when we are talking about singular present, it always should be has. If it is plural present, it needs to be have. And whether it is singular or plural, if it is past tense, it should be had, right? So we are talking about something which is belonged or which is belonging to someone, right? So for that, we can use has, have, or had, right? So I think it is clear to you. So here space have been given to write the sentences, right? Okay. So yes, so since we have reached 8, sorry, today we had only a little bit of time to work, but it's okay. I think we completed one activity and also we read something written by Bashit as well. So I think we can stop for today here. But as I said, those who missed to participate last week, try to do the activity on how to make something which you like or one from the given list, as well as try to write this paragraph as well regarding Ananda Samarakon. Then we will discuss this. We will see what you have written, and different students will have different ideas. So you can write those things as you wish, and then we will discuss those two at the first place this Wednesday, right? So this Wednesday I will not get late. I will be surely on time. So we will discuss those two activities, and then we will do, I think in the next activities what we will have to do is reading, right? So I will just go down before winding up. So you can see this is, we need to read an essay on my school, right? And then we need to complete a table. And then also if we consider the pupils book also, this is where we stopped, right? So we did all these synonyms. We did the acronyms and synonyms last week. So activity 6 is what we need to do here also. We need to have some reading. So Wednesday, most of the time, rather than me speaking or me reading, it will be most of you who will be reading, right? So you need to read this act out, and you need to read this essay, as well as you need to read what you will be writing at home related to Ananda Samarakon, as well as how to make something, right? So all these things you will be reading this Wednesday, right? So I hope, so if you have time, right, I know it is a little bit of work, but if you have time, just take few minutes to read these two as well, so that you will be familiar with them. But we will read them at the class, and related to this, the activities we will complete in the class, right? Okay, so I think we can wind up for today, right? If you have anything to get clarified or anything you want to ask from me, you can ask me. If not, we can end the session, right? So those of you who are happy to go, you may leave the session. Good night. And anyone else, if anyone has any questions, you can stay back and ask me to get them clarified, right? Good night.
Thank, thank you, teacher. Good night.
Thank you, teacher. Good night, teacher.
Okay, you're welcome and good night.
Thank you, teacher. Good night.